Thank you for tuning in to Slock's educational video series. My name is Caley, Lacey, and I will be teaching you how to stretch or warm up before an audition every day to just increase flexibility and strength. So if you're going to an audition, first you want to warm up your body because stretching isn't warming up. It'll just hurt your muscles and you're not actually going to really accomplish anything. So you really want to do some jumping jacks or planks or crunches, anything to warm up your body quick so then you can begin stretching. So if you're starting out and say you're at an audition, so you only have a quick 10 minutes to get ready, you wanna really warm up before you sing too, because if you're engaging your abs, your whole body will be more engaged and you'll actually sing better too. So you should do this before the entire audition, not just before the dance audition. Maybe do it both times. So I would really start with jumping jacks. So I would do about 30. I would do 10, 10, 10, and then maybe do, it depends on your strength already, but you can do 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, just so that you can remember where you're at. So I would do 10 like this, and I would also do alternate 10 like that. So it would be 1, 2, and then 10 like that. And now I just go around the room. So after I went like there, I would roll my body down, all the way through my spine, and roll it all the way up. And then I would roll it all the way down. And then you're gonna walk your hands flat, don't tent them, but make them flat, into a plank. And I would hold this for about a minute or as long as you can. I would do a side plank and make sure our hips are pushing up, and then I would go down my body and hold it again for another 30 seconds and spin and hold it here for another 30 seconds and down. And then from here, again, this all depends on your strength already, and don't push yourself because you want to be ready for the audition and not shaking. But if you want to do this every day to gain your strength, you can always increase the number or make it less, just where you're at. So after the plank combination, I would drop my knees, or you can keep them up wherever your body is, and you can do push-ups. I would do 10 push-ups, child's pose, 10 push-ups, child pose, and then I would do one more set of 10, and then I would hold child pose for a little bit, just to give your body a chance to relax. And then I would stretch to the side and stretch to the other side. And then I would turn onto my back and I would do about 30 crunches. I would alternate where my legs go though. I would start 10 here, and then I would do 1, down, 2, down, 10 there. I would do 10 like this, and then I would rest. So this is where you can begin stretching, because right now your body's starting to warm up. So I would drop this leg, take this leg, and turn to the side, and I would hold, and then switch legs, and hold, and then I would go back onto my belly, and I would do upward dog, and then I would tuck my toes, and go into downward dog, because that's a good way to get your body still warm, and you can go back into plank if you want, and do these kind of things, just to get your whole body starting to get warm. It's including your legs, it's including your toes, starting to point. And then I could switch and go up and push and up. And then from here, I would walk, and slow roll up again, just where we started. But now our body's warm. So I would start at my head and work down. So I would go head, roll all the way around and the way around. And I would really hold my head gently and push down, so you can work this. So if you're in an audition, you're gonna be fast paced. You're not really gonna think about if you're gonna hurt yourself because you want the part, right? So you wanna make sure every part of your body is really relaxed and you won't hurt it. You wanna make sure all your muscles are warm and you're not overdoing anything so that your muscles don't tear. So I would stress all these muscles. I would just go down the body and just make sure that you're hitting every body part, starting at your head, working down. So I already did my shoulders. I would do some shoulder rolls. I would stretch them forward. And then I would go to my rib cage. I would just roll it around a little bit because there's a lot of like flossy stuff. So you wanna make sure your rib cages are warm. And I would maybe do it with my hips a little bit, like do this kind of thing and do it the other way. So then after you do that, you go all the way down. I would go into a lunge. So I would hold it as long as your body can. And then I would put my hand down and reach up, and I would hold that. And then just keep working down. Just do it chronologically so it makes sense.
I would grab my foot and then lower it down. So you're just going up to down so that it all makes sense so you don't have to get confused or anything. And back, and then I would stretch like this. And then I would go back into the lunge, back up, switch legs. So then you do it backwards. And if you are advanced and your legs are stronger or you've been doing the video for a while, you can start adding things without putting your hand to the floor. And you can do things like this because that can start to stretch out the sides of your stomach. And that will actually help you too. And hand on the floor, you do this, you go backwards. And then after you finish all of that, you turn and you bring your leg in and you look like a little frog for a little bit. Because this is gonna stretch this area and your sides when you push forward like this. And I would just rock on your wrists, because if there are any floor work in the choreography, your wrists have to be warm too. So you have to think about every joint in your body, making sure it's warm. And then I would push back like this, back to full delete, because your body's probably tired again. And you might be out of breath, so you can take a break for a little bit. But then we're gonna sit and do some small breathing stretches. So if I'm stretching, I would start like this, and again, go in chronological order, what makes sense. So I would start like this with one foot flat in front of the other, so your legs are basically flat on the ground. If you can't do that, your knees can be up, your knees can be down wherever you're at. They can do the crisscross applesauce, but it'll do different stretches than what we're gonna be aiming for. So if you can, if your body's able, I would do this or work wherever you're at. I would go flat down with a flat back, and I would count to like 10, and then I'll arch down. Not arch, I would contract down. And then I would put my leg in front of me and stretch, but you wanna not do passive stretching. You wanna like bounce a tiny bit. You wanna really flex the muscle so that you're working it and not just sitting in it. And then I'm going to go to the side, and then you wanna stretch to the side. So this is where you're gonna start stretching your sides and your hamstrings if there are any kicks in the combinations. And this is how you can start getting those rocket kicks that everyone wants. And straight down. But you want to make sure that your other hip, your alternated hip from the leg that you're stretching, stays on the floor. So I want to turn my body like this, but from here, keep this part of my body flat on the floor, and reach down, flat back, and then curve. And then just keep going in the order that makes sense. I will bend the back leg and then go forward again. But again, make sure this hip doesn't come off the ground. So this would be up. This would be correct. So you really want to make sure you're just sitting flat on your butt bones. If you wiggle, you should feel the little bones at the bottom of your butt. If you do this, you should feel it. So if I do this and my hip is off the ground, then you're not in alignment and it's not going to do what you are wanting it to do. So you want to keep it bent in a little diamond shape, and then go straight down, and then you can curve, and then you can come up a little bit, but your goal is to keep it on the ground. And then after you do the other side too, so switch this part, 2, 3, 4, all through that. I would put my feet together and flap like a little butterfly and reach down. And then still going with what makes sense, I would put my feet flat in front of me. I would point flex to work your ankles, because your ankles are going to be working a lot too. If you're in heels, your feet will be like this all the time, so you really want to make sure that your ankles are warming up too, so that they don't freak out when you put your heels on. And then I would reach forward after their flex and reach all the way down. And then for the part that will be most beneficial, I would open up as far as you can go. It can be here, wherever you're at. Just go as far as you can. I would make sure that, again, we're just reaching from here. We're not letting a hip come up or the other hip come up, and we're also not letting our toes turn inward. You want to make sure that your toes are reaching towards the back wall. So that's why I actually find it easier to stay flexed when we do this kind of thing, because then it's easier to know if your toes are hitting the floor. So this will actually hurt you. It won't benefit you at all. So you really want to make sure if you have an elastic band, you can connect it to both feet and behind your back so that they're held if it's hard. So then I'm going to keep my hip on the floor, and I'm going to reach all the way, and I'm going to grab my foot. So I'm really reaching to my hip to the floor, which actually causes a stretch here, and I'm also stretching the bottom of my hamstring. And then I'm going to turn just my upper body. My legs aren't going to move, and I'm going to go flat over this leg. And if it's too much for you, it's not too late to move your feet closer together. And then I'm going to reach the other side, and then flat. And then lastly, you're really going to reach towards the center. But again, you're not going to let your toes go in. You're going to reach for them to go out. You're going to push for it, and then go all the way down, flat as you can, as flat as a pancake. And then if you have your splits close, you can put them forward, but if you have it, you can go out and then go forward, go through the split and really work it, and then go into the frog pose. And if you don't have it, just go into this pose. This will be really relaxing for your hamstrings, which you really just stretched a lot. You're gonna push to keep your shoulders down, and then go up again. And we're really just going backwards to give your body a break. I'm gonna tuck my toes, I'm gonna go onto my feet, and I'm gonna put my heels down, and I'm gonna stretch. And then I'm gonna bend my knees and shake my head yes, shake my head no. And then I'm gonna roll all the way up really slow, up my spine, and my head is gonna be the last thing that comes up. And you're gonna look funny, but you're not gonna touch your clothes because you just worked really hard. And then I'm gonna shake out. So that's how you stretch if you want to, and if you do it every day, this whole thing, especially the warm-up at the beginning, you will noticeably see your body getting stronger and your flexibility getting more intact. If you want to get harder, you can always add more kicks at the end. You can do some releves and plies if you want. You can always add more and you can always go less, whatever your body needs. So thank you for tuning in to Slock's educational videos, and I hope you watch the next one.